Hello, Super Boothers. Thanks for joining in today. The ongoing topic that is coming up more often since we've done the feedback episode is what to specifically ask your customers in your customer survey. There's a couple of tips and tricks for getting the most out of your customer feedback survey, and if you're not doing one already, you need to be doing one. Getting feedback from your customers is supremely important on so many levels. You are not a mind reader and you don't know what people are thinking. And this gives a tiny little morsel into what's going on inside your client's head. Now, these upcoming questions are just suggestions, and feel free to not limit yourself to just these seven. I like odd numbers and keeping it under 10. I think that you'll have a higher return rate by keeping it just short and simple. So let's get going. Number one, how would you rate your experience with the photo booth? And I like to do this with 5 stars. I like stars because, let's face it, they're pretty. Seriously though, it says a standard, and stars are more fun to give. We're a fun industry. We can't take ourselves too seriously. And 5 stars is a great way to measure against other platforms that may be out there, like Wedding Wire and The Knot. Um, Giving 10 options is far too many. And I personally will always score lower when given the option of 10 versus 5. So I might give like a 9 or an 8 versus, or I might give a 7 versus out of 10 versus just giving a 4 or even a 5, just depending on, my mood. Um, so the second question is, considering the overall value of the product and the service you received, was it A, an exceptional value worth more than you paid for, B, a good value worth about what you paid for it, or C, a poor value worth less than you paid for it? I like this because you're commanding a very simple response. You get to see where your values lie versus where the price the customer paid for it. And this is such a honed in and targeted question where the customer can exactly articulate what their thoughts are without having to search for the words. You It is very difficult to get your client to get information out of them. This is a great way to do that. Number three, would you recommend this product to a friend? This is a huge Net Promoter Score question. Net Promoter Score, NPS, is a management tool that is used to measure the loyalty of a customer's, or of a company's customers rather. The customer loyalty metric was developed by some random company. But a simple yes or no question, you're getting down to the bottom line to see if they would recommend you or not. I don't like this question being a 1 to 10 scale question because that's not how life is. Someone is either going to recommend you or they're not. And if they say no, then you clearly have a problem in your hands. If they say no on the form, I would follow up with an explanation box as to why they feel this way, because you really want to know like what the problem was. Number four, what options did you consider before deciding to use our service? There is a huge question because there's a great opportunity for you to find out what your customer is thinking when they were in the buying process and what was important to them. Did they want the cheapest price? Did they want social media options? Were they focused on like the design of their photo layout? Like, that's the type of questions that you don't we don't know what's going on whenever they're buying. So it's always nice to know to get them to think back to what they were looking for whenever they were trying to make a purchase. Number five, how likely are you to use us again in the future? This one I think should be a 1 to 10 scale kind of thing. I normally don't like this. However, there really isn't another way to get this kind of information out of someone. If it's someone's wedding, someone may not use your service again simply because they don't need to. That doesn't have anything to do with you. Number six, if you could change one thing about our service, what would it be? And this is where you just sit back and let your customers say whatever they're going to say. Please do not take any of this personally. People are going to be honest, not knowing who's reading it on the other end. They might think that it's some sort of a supervisor for like some ridiculously large company, which it very well could be. However, often enough, since most of us are small business, you are going to be the person that will be on the receiving end. And again, don't take it personally. This has nothing to do with you, but the service of the company. Sometimes the client may say that everything went well. Sometimes they may say the salesperson should have been faster. All of this information really should be taken in a very constructive way. And keep in mind, you're not going to please everyone. I clearly don't, if you've listened to any of the podcasts lately. So by no means lose any sleep over this. Um, Number 7, what else would you like us to know? And here is where the customer is going to have at it. And you will find out things that you have never even thought of. Open ended questions really are the key to success. If there was a particular person on your staff that they were impressed with, this perfectly worded question will let them express that. More often than not, your customers will use this opportunity to say how well things went and parts of the process that were easiest on them, or made the most impact. Um, some words of caution whenever you're doing your feedback forms. Do not ask leading questions. You will not get honest answers. Don't say things like, how was your overall experience using our top-notch first-class photo booth? Don't do that. This happens far too often, and you're not going to benefit out of these questions at all. If you use words like this and for some reason your client wasn't happy, it will amplify the situation, and then you're going to wish that you had never asked an open-ended question like this. You will hear it, and your client will tell you their honest opinion. I always kind of think it's funny whenever, like, let's say there's like a catering company called, you know, everything is delicious and everything wasn't delicious, then you're going to have a big problem. So that's why I like stay away from those kind of company names. But customer feedback surveys are such an underutilized tool that you can start generally for free. The information that your clients will give you will be invaluable. Pro tip: when the client is finished with the survey, place it in the file of that reservation. That way, whenever you need to look it up in the future, you'll know how the client felt with your service, and it'll refresh your memory. Um, with me, there are far too many events to keep track of, so this way I, can remember what attendant worked it. Were they happy? Did everything go well? Did they have a specific type of prop? Did they use a particular photo booth? All those things. So there are plenty of places where you can host your surveys, and SurveyMonkey, FormStack, Typeform, they're all really good, and I'll put links to those as well. Thank you guys so much for listening. This was just a really quick video. Thank you so much. Please listen to us Wednesdays, and if you are in Dallas on September 25th, we're doing Super Boothers Do Dallas. It is from 7 to 10 at the W Hotel. Tickets are $75, and they're available at superboothers.com. Thanks for listening, guys.